So with that, we'll begin with file item 2, Senate Bill 936 by Senator Blakespear. Good morning. Senator, whenever you would like to begin.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Chair. Hello, members. Good morning. I'm happy to present today SB 936. SB 936 takes a measured approach to addressing the dangerous rise of nitrous oxide misuse in California. Nitrous oxide has become a popular recreational drug among youth, but it can have deadly consequences, especially for those who choose to drive while intoxicated by it. In particular, it can cause impaired brain function, loss of motor control, asphyxia or death, and repeated exposure has been linked to long-term neurologic damage. To be clear, nitrous oxide does have several important legitimate uses, such as an engine propellant in the automotive industry, laughing gas for dental procedures, and as a culinary component in restaurants and coffee shops. And my legislation would not impact that. What SB 936 would do is prohibit the retail sale of nitrous oxide canisters that are larger than 8 grams, while preserving legitimate uses in medical, dental, culinary, and automotive settings. Currently, large tanks labeled for, quote, culinary use are widely available through retail shops, often with flavored varieties and branding that appeal to young consumers. And Chair, I have brought in an example that I would like to show here of what you can purchase locally here in Sacramento, called Hot Whip. And this is a nitrous oxide canister that is clearly from its marketing indicated that it is being sold to children. And there's a convenient way to access it. So you just access the nitrous oxide in this big container. And so this is what we would not prohibit for sale, these large containers that are clearly marketed. This one is watermelon, Hot Whip. These also come in bubblegum, vanilla cupcake, and tropical punch. The widespread use of nitrous oxide as a drug is dangerous to individuals and to public safety. While under the influence of nitrous oxide, drivers are impaired and can get into traffic incidents that can easily become deadly. In one incident in my district, a local officer responded to a multi-vehicle crash, and after guiding 2 people affected by the crash off the roadway, he checked on the driver who had consumed nitrous oxide prior to the crash. A second driver, allegedly driving under the influence of alcohol, crashed into the stopped vehicles, killing both the initial driver and the responding officer. These incidents are not isolated. Across California, emergency department visits related to nitrous oxide increased 246% between 2018 and 2023. For these reasons, several local jurisdictions, including one of the 2 counties I represent, Orange County, and the cities of Costa Mesa and Newport Beach, have already restricted the retail sale of these nitrous oxide tanks. SB 936 builds on these local efforts by establishing a statewide standard for nitrous regulations. The bill does not ban it outright, and it does not affect the standard 8-gram whipped cream charges that are commonly used in culinary settings. It also does not create new possession crimes or further criminalize Californians who consume nitrous. Instead, it reduces access for non-legitimate uses. SB 936 is sponsored by the Rural County Representatives of California, the National Stewardship Action Council, Orange County, and San Diego's District Attorney Summer Steffen. And with me today in support, I have Supervisor Madeline Klein from Mendocino County and James Fontaine, a narcotics expert with the San Diego District Attorney's Office.
Great. Good morning. You each have 2 minutes to address the committee, and whoever would like to start.
Good morning, Chair Darragine and committee members. My name is James Fontaine. I am the chief of the Major Narcotics Division at the San Diego County District Attorney's Office and a 26-year prosecutor. Our District Attorney, Summer Steffen, is a proud co-sponsor of Senate Bill 936. Nitrous oxide has been used and abused for over 250 years. What's changed is its availability, the mechanism of its delivery, and its popularity. The small 8-gram chargers have been replaced by large tanks of flavored nitrous oxide being sold out of smoke shops and convenience stores, not for any legitimate culinary purpose, but for the sole purpose of getting people high. The harms, there are very real harms associated with the misuse of nitrous oxide. Harms to the direct users include hypoxic brain injuries, nerve damage, incontinence, and in rare cases, paralysis and even death. The harms are not limited to the direct users. I reviewed every case prosecuted by my office between 2015 and 2025, where nitrous oxide was either charged or was meaningfully involved. We had 118 cases. 74 of those cases happened just in 2025 alone. So that's 63% of our cases involving nitrous oxide happening just last year. Vehicles were involved in over 70% of our cases. The cases ranged from a father losing consciousness and crashing into a fence, grabbing his 2 children, ages 2 and 4, and fleeing from the scene, to a young man losing control of his car, ignoring requests to stop inhaling while driving, crashing, and ending the life of his 17-year-old passenger, to what the senator just mentioned, a crash on a local freeway that took the life of a 19-year-old driver and the 25-year-old police officer who responded to the scene. And I could go on and on. The common denominator, large tanks of flavored nitrous oxide. These are real events with real people suffering significant, sometimes tragic, fatal consequences. SB 936 seeks to intervene before tragedy strikes. And it does that by imposing measured and reasonable restrictions on those containers and devices most commonly involved in the cases we're seeing in San Diego County and undoubtedly causing harm throughout the rest of the state. We respectfully urge you to vote aye on Senate Bill 936. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, good morning, Chair and members. I'm Madeline Klein, Mendocino County Supervisor. So local activism spearheaded the conversation around nitrous oxide in Mendocino County. In 2022, a group of teens from the Youth Leadership Coalition took it upon themselves to advocate for Ukiah City Council to pass an ordinance banning the commercial sale of nitrous oxide canisters. During my first year as supervisor, a group of constituents came forward with dozens and dozens of Whippets canisters that had been littered across our valley. The large quantity of canisters, coupled with multiple incidents happening directly outside of retail locations that were selling these flavored nitrous oxide canisters, led to the Mendocino County Board of Supervisors directing staff to prepare an ordinance to ban the sale of such nitrous oxide canisters. We've heard overwhelmingly from the community that action is needed. We cannot keep allowing retailers to sell this misleading and addictive product to our residents, often aimed at kids and young adults. Especially for the youth, limiting this access is essential. Our neighbors in Humboldt County, one of the first to ban the commercial sale of nitrous oxide, have experienced several tragic and devastating losses in their community. Just 8 months ago, 19-year-old Anisha Gutschall was killed 2 miles south of Fortuna. The driver was huffing on nitrous oxide, passed out, crossed the double yellow, and hit a large truck head-on. She was killed instantly and he lived. The car exploded because it had the medium-sized tanks in the backseat of the car. DUI crashes and fatalities are being reported all across our state. Recent incidents happening in Humboldt County, Santa Cruz County, Sonoma County, Sacramento County, just to name a few. These are young adults, mothers, children, teachers, community leaders alike, all taken too soon. SB 936 is a balanced approach for protecting community members and the environment. Thank you very much to Senator Blakespear for your leadership on this issue, and we humbly ask for an aye vote on SB 936.
Thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public wishing to express support for SB 936? Please approach the microphone, state your name, organization, and position on the bill.
And Chair, there was a handout that I'm not sure if has been distributed. It has. Okay, great. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, Juliana Voris on behalf of the League of California Cities in strong support.
Thank you.
John Kennedy here today on behalf of RCRC, the rural counties, as a sponsor of the measure, and also Me Tooing on behalf of Zero Waste Marin, Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority, and Californians Against Waste. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Heidi Sanborn with the National Stewardship Action Council. We're co-sponsors of the bill, and we strongly urge your support.
Good morning. Amy Jenkins on behalf of the Orange County Board of Supervisors, proud co-sponsors of this bill, pleased to support, and also here on behalf of the California Cannabis Operators Association in strong support. Thank you.
Good morning, Josh Gauger on behalf of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, the Santa Barbara County Board of Supervisors, and the urban counties of California in support.
Clifton Wilson on behalf of the Mendocino County Board of Supervisors in support. Thank you.
Jackie Yanis on behalf of Recology in support.
Good morning, Patrick Espinosa on behalf of the California District Attorneys Association in support.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to express support for Senate Bill 936? If not, we'll take up to 2 principal witnesses in opposition to the bill.
You can stay. You can stay.
Good morning, Chair and members. George Bramthu speaking on behalf of ACLU California Action. We are opposed to SB 936 unless it is amended to take a regulatory approach. This is not a radical idea. Just 2 months ago, this committee considered a bill that would criminalize kratom. In that instance, every single member of this committee, other than Senator Cortese, who wasn't on the committee at that time, voiced support for a regulatory public health approach. Following this committee's lead, we strongly urge the legislature to amend SB 936 out of the penal code and to instead directly regulate businesses. For example, California's approach to regulating flavored tobacco products imposes civil fines and retail license consequences for businesses that fail to comply with the regulatory framework. Insofar as the sponsor's comments were about retailers and marketing, the proper avenue for the intent of SB 936 is direct regulation of those retailers, not criminalization of individuals. I must note that the word retail or retailers does not appear in the bill. Lastly, SB 936's current criminalization is exceptionally broad. Among its provisions, the bill would criminalize or make it a crime to sell, distribute, or offer any device that is capable of holding nitrous oxide. This broad language risks treating household items like Ziploc bags as illegal drug paraphernalia. There's no need to go after Safeway and soccer moms for a problem that can be solved by retail regulations of smoke shops. For these reasons, we are opposed unless amended. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to express opposition to Senate Bill 936, please approach your microphone, state your name, organization, and position on the bill. Okay, seeing no one else, that completes our testimony. I'll bring it back to the committee for questions or comments. Senator Caballero and then the Vice Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the author for bringing this bill forward. I heard the bill last year or last month or whenever we, the kratom discussion. Time isn't all relative. And part of the challenge in that discussion was that we had testimony in support of a regulatory framework for kratom and opposed, and it was conflicting. And so it called upon this committee to make an evaluation as to whether that particular product had any beneficial use, which is way beyond what the committee does. And so I guess I'm having a hard time with this Ziploc bag explanation. So let me just also say that I really appreciate the testimony here today. The consequences of using this product irresponsibly is really what it amounts to, is grave. And I think there has been, the canister is probably the best evidence of the enticement for young people to use it. It looks like it'd be fun, right? It's a party thing, and that's really scary. So I really appreciate the youth coming forward and saying we don't want this, because they're in the best age group to tell us what's going on in the community and how we can protect them, keep them safe. So can you address that Ziploc bag issue, and are you anticipating any amendments that might address the issue that's been raised by the ACLU?
Yes, thank you
I'm
for
not
the
talking
question.
about the regulatory process, because I
Right.
really don't think we in this instance it's necessary, but I am concerned about other products, and never heard of the product being put in a zip bag. I'm just
Right. I mean, so we are happy to and are already working to narrow the language so that it's clear that it doesn't include things like Ziploc bags. I mean, the truth is that's a somewhat of an absurd suggestion, because it is a gas. So like the idea that you're going to put this into a bag and that somehow that's I mean, that's just not something that's happening in the real world, I guess. So, but we don't want anybody to be concerned about, creep into other areas. This is very specifically aimed at prohibiting the retail sale of these. And, these are available. You can see them in the window of smoke shops, and they are being marketed directly two people who are walking by, two kids. And so it's very specific in saying that we don't want the retail sale of these, that you could just walk in and buy this. And so that's what this bill is doing. And also, I'll just say that there's nobody who would go to jail under this bill. It's a series of escalating fines. And so, it's important to contextualize it. And if you wanted any more on the criminal civil, I think the district attorney could probably answer that too. If you
I'm
were
fine.
interested.
No,
Okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I just couldn't imagine somebody putting a gas into a baggie
Right.
as an alternative method. And quite frankly, that little point you could put on it is, it makes it frightening.
Right. Exactly.
Pretty clear it's meant to be used for personal use. So
Right.
I have no further questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Vice Chair Sierto.
Thank you very much. And thank you for tackling this issue because it is a growing problem. When you put a nitrous oxide gas into your lungs, it displaces the oxygen. That's what it does. And so for however long that's happening, you become hypoxic. And when you're hypoxic, your brain doesn't function right. And so since this is being targeted to our kids, this is a growing public safety issue. And it's entirely appropriate for us to address that. And once we've addressed it, as far as the criminal part of it, if people know that this is what it's doing to kids and they're still selling them that item, then they certainly deserve to have some kind of prosecution for trying to injure our kids. Sometimes adults are dumb enough to do it themselves, but sometimes kids don't know that when they're breathing this stuff in, it's displacing their oxygen. It's taking the place of oxygen, and the molecules won't molecules won't be carrying oxygen to the brain and things like that. So I think this is something that is entirely supportable. I don't think it infringes on anybody's rights, and I think it's going to keep our kids. One more thing that we have to do to keep our kids alive, and so therefore we'll be supporting this when the time comes. And again, I appreciate you bringing it up, and appreciate the witness's testimony. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Blakes, for bringing this bill forward. This bill's been dual referred to public safety and business professions and economic development. Today, we're dealing with the penal code provisions and the criminal penalties. BMP will look at the licensing piece. And this bill does actually include a regulatory approach. It includes provisions that would allow for the suspension of a license if somebody is found to be in violation of this law. I think that's important. We did move a bill forward in January by Senator Umberg. I think this is a much more comprehensive law that focuses on the sale and distribution and not the possession. But I do want to raise one issue that Senator Wiener had raised. He's unfortunately not here at this time, around the word giveaway. And just thinking about that, then whether that may implicate people that are using or possessing nitrous. So just given that he raised that issue, I just want to put that into the record. I think this is absolutely critical for the many reasons stated by you and by your witnesses, just the significant public health risk and the fact this is being specifically marketed to kids is a reason why we have to pass this today. And so my recommendation is an aye. I'll turn it back over to you to close.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thank you for the good conversation today, and to my witnesses for coming, and to the ACLU for your engagement. I just have two final points I want to make. One is that it's not just that people are deeply impaired and shouldn't be driving. It's also that it is seriously addictive. This is like crack cocaine. And when I've talked to other people who have had family members involved, things just escalated completely out of control in ways that were unpredicted because how highly addictive it is. And the other thing I want to mention is that these canisters are very difficult to deal with on the waste side. So this cost for sale $31.99, but it costs over $60 $60 for municipalities to manage the waste on the back end. And so, that's one of the reasons that we have so many of the environmental sponsors, because of the concerns about the waste product that's created here that's not being dealt with. So it's just a further need for this bill. And with that, I thank you very much for your support.
Thank you very much. We do not yet have a quorum, but when we do, we'll entertain a motion. And thank you very much, Senator.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see we have our next author, Senator Padilla, here.